Hi, and welcome back to Spring One 2020. We're in the second half of day one, and up next is Software Architecture, a story about business value and trade-offs by Abel Fresnillo Silva from Lowe's. Take it away, Abel.
Well, hello, everyone. Thanks for joining this session. I hope you guys are having a good conference so far. I was attending a few of the sessions, and there is really cool stuff going on. Spring One is one of the best conferences, and sorry, guys, I can still hear you in the background. I'm sorry. Okay, let's keep going. So yeah, it's the title of this presentation is a story about business value and trade-offs, and basically we're going to take a look on a few things that you can use to find out what business value means for your organization and how to choose the right software architecture. So before we start, I would like to say a few things about me. I am a senior software engineer. I've been working in the software industry for 15 years. I've been doing building solutions, architecting solutions, leading development teams in my experience. I am really passionate about learning and getting to know more stuff about software development, including programming languages, software architecture, cloud services, etc. I am originally from Mexico. I moved to the US 8 years ago, and it has really helped evolving my career, growing as a professional. So I am having fun here. I am also one of the leaders of the Charlotte Java user group in North Carolina. We organize events monthly. So you can, if you are in the Charlotte area, I hope after the pandemic situation, you can join us in some of the events. And if you are in a different location, for now, we're doing online events. So please feel free to take a look on the website and see the events that we organize. We always have really good speakers. I hope we can see you in one of those events. I am working for Lowe's right now. I've been working for Lowe's for 5 years, and it has been a really good experience for me. I've learned a lot, and I'm still having fun with Lowe's. So yeah. All right. So to start with this session, I would like to share the motivation, the reason why I created this presentation, and it's because back in February, I went to a software architecture conference, and Martin Fowler was delivering a keynote, and he was talking about the elephant in software architecture. So what is that thing that we sometimes forget about when we're working in software architecture? And he mentioned that understand what business value means for your organization is the actual thing. Is that thing that sometimes we forget because there's a lot of stuff going around. So it's good for us to keep always that in mind, because if we're not producing business value for our organization, then probably we're not doing the best job. So I would like to mention two problems that I see normally happening in the industry. So we all have great ideas, and that's why we have great products today. But sometimes we have ideas and we have biases. We have probably just a small amount of information, and that's how we take decisions. So let's say that sometimes we want to create a product, and we imagine something that has 20-something features, and that we think that is going to be great for our users, and our customers are going to love it. And then the next thing that we do is just we define the steps that we need to take in order to accomplish creating that product. After that process, we deliver that to the business users. They take a look, and if you follow this path, most of the time what is going to happen is that you're going to run into the 80-20 rule, which says that 80% of the business value that you get, it comes out of 20% of the software that you build. So we really want to take advantage of the other 80%, right? So one thing that you can do for that, and that actually that's how agile methodologies work, is check out with your get feedback from your business users at different points in the development process, so that you can have more information about the solution. If they really need the things that you're building, if it's the right functionality that they need, or if there's things that they don't need. So you will go in this discovery process, you will change directions, you will make adjustments, And at the end of the day, you can get to a solution that doesn't look exactly how you were expecting, but it's exactly what they need. It's probably what they need. You're going to be able to deliver that in a shorter period of time. And also, it's going to deliver probably the things that they actually need. So that's the first problem. So we have to remove those biases. We need to get the more information that we can, and then start building the solution. The second problem is on the technical side. I think we're software engineers, so we like to use the new tools, the stuff that is out there in the market, and we have a really good set of tools today. We can do things that we never imagined in the past because of the technology that we have available to us. But sometimes we focus a lot in the technology and we forget about the solution that we're trying to build. So what you need to do in this case is define what is the problem that you have at hand, and then do that analysis and define what are the tools that are going to help you doing or building the right solution. After the analysis, you can realize that actually, yes, you need the new tools, and that's cool. You can use the new stuff. But sometimes it doesn't make sense. Just so, for example, if you are eager to use the microservice architecture, for example, but your solution is a better fit for a monolith, then you're going to be paying the price of complexity in a microservices environment because and probably you're not going to be getting the benefits. So it's important for you to focus on the problem first and then choose the right tools to solve that problem. So today's talk is going to be in two parts. It's going to be very high level. We're going to touch a few topics that are going to help you finding out what and why to build a solution. And then we're going to see the steps to choose the right software architecture. So let's start with the what and why. So back to the conference, software architecture conference. This is one of the things that Martin Fowler mentioned. Is one of the biggest tragedies in the software world is the divorce between the business users and the technical team. And this is very true. I mean, if you take a look on today's organization, normally in a large size organization, the IT team is still working independently and the business users are sometimes even in different buildings. There is no communication between them. And if that's the case, you cannot come up with a good solution. So one of the roles or responsibilities of the software architect is actually remove those things from the middle and open a communication channel that is going to help and enable that communication, that feedback. So you will get to know more about your business users. And that's when the product owner role becomes very important, because the product owner in an agile team is responsible to make sure that the business needs are being translated to a technical solution. So that's how and why agile methodologies are very popular right now. So one of the things that you can use is the lean cycle. This comes from lean manufacturing. And basically what this says is you start with an idea, and then with that idea, you are going to build a product. And in small iterations, obviously. Once you complete an iteration of the product, you put that product into a measurement process, and you get data out of it. That data, you're going to use it to learn and get to know if you're going the right direction or if you need to switch directions. So that's how you do it. And then that learning is going to generate more ideas. And you're going to iterate on this cycle again and again until you get to the ideal product. This actually matches perfectly with agile methodologies like Scrum. Every sprint, you should be doing this so that you can have the solution that your end user actually needs. So that's something that you can leverage for that. There is a couple more tools, techniques that we can leverage for finding out what to do and why. Value stream mapping is one of them. This value stream mapping tool is all about creating all the steps in the process of your business or your organization, what happens across the different channels that there are in an organization. And then if you put all those steps, you're going to find out bottlenecks. You're going to find out, for example, that there is waste, steps that you actually are not getting any benefit from them. And so you can remove that or probably automate some of the steps that you're taking so that you can get the most out of the development process. And the value stream mapping is especially good to identify priorities. What do you need to work on first? The second technique that I want to mention is event storming. I'm not going to go in detail about this one, but it's all about, again, mapping your organization process using sticky notes with events, commands, external systems, actors, and data entities. And basically, you're going to end up with a full room of Post-its. Excuse me. And you're going to be able to identify how information flows in your organization. You're going to it's going to help you to break down components in your architecture. So it's very useful. There are very good resources online. Alberto Brandolini has YouTube videos that you can check out and learn more about this technique. So once you realize what is the problem, what is the product that you need to build, then it's time to define what type of architecture is best for your solution. And that's why I wanted to touch a little bit and very high level on how to choose the right software architecture. So there are a few things that you have to consider. The first one is obviously consider the architecture characteristics that you need for your solution. We're going to take a look on this and make an analysis on how to select those characteristics for your solution. The other thing that you need to consider is the domain. Your domain is going to tell you a lot about the architecture that you need to build. It's not the same if you are developing a video game than if you are developing, for example, a system for a retailing company. So those are very important things that you need to consider. Another important thing is data. So what kind of data you're working with. So all those things are important to keep in mind. And also very important is to consider strategic goals. Obviously, you have to make sure that you are aware of where your company or your organization wants to go. If they are interested on expanding the customer base that they have, or they want to be faster to market. Stuff like that is important to consider when you are trying to use or select an architectural style. All these concepts and the second part of this talk, I got a lot of information from this book, Fundamentals of Software Architecture by Neil Ford and Mark Richards. So if you want to learn more about it, you can probably take a look on that book. It's really good. All right, so the steps to choose the right software architecture. Step one, choose the architectural characteristics. So what is that? So normally when you're working with business users, they're going to tell you something like, we want to expand our business to other countries. So when they tell you that, it's basically a business need, but you are going to translate that to say, okay, I think we need to probably use or leverage cloud service because it's probably the easiest way to deploy applications in different locations. So you have to do that translation. For example, if you're working for a banking company, they're going to tell you, well, security will always be first in our list of concerns. So again, you have to think about, okay, well, probably I will need some type of data store that is going to be very secure. I am going to define the encryption process for that. I need to check how information is going to encrypt it when I send the information from one place to the other. All those considerations that you need to think about in that situation. And for example, in a company that is developing video games, the business says, well, we want to support multiple players during peak hours. And again, you have to translate that. In this case, probably will be scalability. You want to be able to support multiple users at different times in the day, and also elasticity because you want to have the ability to increase or reduce the number of instances that you have working at any point in time. Okay, so what are the architectural characteristics? So this is a small set of them. Again, you can check my information online. There's a huge list of these characteristics, but basically those are the things that you want your application to be able to do. Most of the times you're gonna need to select 3 to 5. There's no more than 5 or a small group, because the thing is that adding all of the architectural characteristics is impossible. It's gonna be very complex and very expensive. And some of them even go in the opposite way. So it's impossible to have them all. So you have to select which ones you need for your solution. So in this case, we're talking about, for example, a game. So in the case of a game, you will probably want the application to be scalable. So it needs scalability. You need that application to be portable because you want to run that in a PC or in a video game console. So that's and also you want the solution to be evolvable because probably you're going to create a new great first-person shooter, and you want to add maps and new weapons, new characters, and stuff like that. So it has to be evolvable. In the case of a banking system, so again, the first concern should be security. Probably you will want to have traceability as well to know in terms of transactions, who did what and when. So that's very important. Obviously, banking systems need to be reliable. And this last example is just for a social network. In this case, you want the solution to be usable. You want to add features frequently, so agility and resilient, because we never like when the favorite social network's down, right? All right, step 2. This is probably the big decision. So you have to, we're going to use this example. Let's say that there is a team that is trying to create a product catalog. In this case, there's a group of people working with this. This is the subdomain for your organization. So in this case, let's say that you do the analysis for trade-offs, and you end up finding that you need only one single set of architectural characteristics. You need this product catalog to be highly available, correctness, because data quality is important for products, and also you have data to be durable. In this case, you're going to have one single database. And if this is your case, if you need only one single set of architectural characteristics, then you're going to go with a monolithic architectural style. I am just showing here 2 of the monolithic architectural styles, but there are more. So if you want, you can check more information online. Layer architecture is just, the architecture is divided in technical concerns. And the modular monolith is very interesting because if you create it in the right way, you're going to be able to create those modules. And you're going to be able to extract those modules in case there is a need for that thing to evolve independently. So you can take it out without changing a lot your application and deploy it in a different location. This is very one of the recommended architectural styles for greenfield applications and for startups. So because you can leverage evolutionary architecture to deliver your solution. But what about if you, after the analysis for trade-offs, you find out that there is more than one set of architectural characteristics. So you need, in one side, you need to still have the product catalog that meets those 3 architectural characteristics, but then you have a user interface. And that user interface needs to be usable, easy to use with usability. It has to be simple, simplicity. What if you have a reporting module where you need the reporting to be accurate, you need integrity, you need reliability. So those are different things. You have more than one set. And in this situation, this scenario, then you will want to take a look on distributed architectural styles. Again, I'm just showing 2 of them. And these are probably the most popular right now. Microservices, which is basically you create small components for one single responsibility. And basically, this one of the things that you can use for finding out what are those domains is domain-driven design. So you create different components and deploy them and develop them independently. And on the other side is event-driven architecture. It's all about events and event processors. So you go through the steps of the organization, sending events and changing information, enriching information, and sending all the information across the flow. All right, so this is the biggest probably decision. You will need to decide monolith versus distributed. Step number 3 is determine architectural quantum, and this is basically just how many things are you going to deploy at the same time. In a monolith, it's going to be a quantum of 1. You have examples. For example, in this case, you have the interface that can be deployed independently. But let's say that there is a dependency between product catalog and the reporting tool, and you have to deploy them together. If you change one, you have to deploy the other. The most ideal scenario is obviously have independent components that can be deployable and developed independently. So that's where you probably need to target in a distributed architectural style. Step 4 is determine persistence, or where data is going to live. So for this example, we already know that we need a database in the product catalog component, because that's the location where product data is going to live. And then we may need or may not need a database for reporting, but just to be clear, you have to store only reporting information that plays, not product data. Product data has to live in the product catalog component, and you cannot mix data, because having data into different places is really bad for your architecture. So yeah, you define where data lives. Step number 5, you determine communication style. So in this case, we have 2 options. You can go with synchronous communication. Probably the most popular way is RESTful API. And that way, there are certain characteristics for APIs that are very helpful for development. They are easy to create. They are easy to design. So you have to keep those things in mind. But there is also the asynchronous communication, which is the message with the messaging engine. You can use RabbitMQ, Kafka, or any other technology with queues and topics. And what this is going to give you is probably give you a little bit more of decoupling with your components, because you don't have a dependency on each other, which happens with the user interface. In case the product catalog API is down, then user interface is not going to show any information. For reporting, let's say that you are going to send a message, and then the message is going to be sent across the wire. It's going to go to the queue, and then once the product catalog is ready to consume the message, it's going to consume it when it's ready. All right, and so yeah, we took a look on what and why, a few things that you can use. Again, probably you will want to do more research about things, because it was really high level. And then we took a look on the architecture, how to choose the right software architecture. Again, a series of steps and things that you can consider to choose the architecture. So I want to wrap up this session with this quote from Hightower. He says, well, focus on the problem. The most important tool in the software world is you. You have to make the decisions. You have to first think about what's the problem, and then you have to figure out what are the tools, design techniques, the software architecture that is a better fit for your solution, and then leverage them to solve your problems. Again, I got a lot of information from these links. So if you want to check more information about this, here are a few references. And last but not least, feel free to reach out, guys. I will be in the Slack channels. Obviously, after this session, we'll go to the Q&A session. So you can reach out in there. The slides for this presentation are going to be in my GitHub account in the slides project. And it's the Spring 1 presentation. That's the new version of this session. Reach out on Twitter. I'm always happy to reach out to people. If you are in the Charlotte area, again, I extend the invitation to join us in the Java user group. And that's all from me. Thank you very much, guys. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of the conference.
Thanks, Abel. I always love to hear a shout out to event storming. Okay, stand by. Oh, don't forget to join Abel in QA. Okay, and next up we have Dormaine Drewitz. I don't even have to tell you what she's talking about, because she's just awesome all the time. But it's building the business case for modern applications. See you there.